Students, welcome back. This is Madhu Dharmapuri, and today we are going to start one new chapter which is electrostatics. Okay, so before we start this lecture, let me ask you few questions. Okay, so you may be thinking in the beginning of the chapter Sir is asking some questions, but don't worry, I will only answer those questions. Okay, the first question is, when we were in childhood, we could observe one thing, that when we comb our dry hair with a comb and put that comb nearby a small pieces of paper, and we do observe that those pieces of paper do attract to the comb. Why? Is the first question. The second question is, why do all electrical appliances, particularly like refrigerators, grinders, iron boxes, etc., do have third pin? Why? And the third question is, we all observe during storms, during rainy season, a lightning in the sky, and we do hear a sound which is called as thunder for a while after seeing lightning. Why? For all these questions, the answer lies in only one thing, that is electric charge. That is electric charge. How? What is the link between these questions and electric charge? The first question I asked was combing hair with comb and touching that comb or keeping that comb nearby a pieces of paper and attracting the attraction between comb and papers, we will observe. That is because some charge is produced by combing your hair, created by the charge is created by combing your hair, which is accumulated on the comb, and when you keep that comb nearby a pieces of paper, and on those pieces of paper some other charge is accumulated, and if it is opposite charge, then they have attracted to this. It's all because of generation or creation of charge on the comb by combing your hair, dry hair. What was my second question? Why do third pin exists for electrical appliances like refrigerators and grinders? The again reason is electric charge, because every electrical appliance will end up with some charge because of some faulty connections, and some charge is accumulated on the appliance, and if you have this third pin, then the charge that is accumulated on the appliance will be discharged to the ground through that third pin. The third pin is grounding wire which is connected to ground, because ground can accept any number of charges. So the excess of charge that is accumulated on the electrical appliance is transferred to the ground through that third pin. So electrical charge is the answer for that. And third question, very very important, we do observe in nature the lightning and thunders, particularly during raining season and during storms. What happens during that time? Some kind of flash you will observe. That is what lightning is called. Right? Why does that happens? Because of the imbalance between charges. Like it may be between two clouds. It may be between cloud and ground. It may be within the cloud. Three types. For example, if the lightning is between cloud, storm cloud and ground, means the electrical discharge is happening between cloud and ground. How does it happen? Usually during rainy season, the particles of rain will collide each other, the ice particles will collide each other, and inside cloud also the snow particles will collide each other. And because of all these collisions, more oftenly negatively, the cloud is negatively charged, the lower part of the cloud, storm cloud, which creates the imbalance of charge between cloud and ground. And on the ground, like trees, staples, or the highest places like mountains, they do become positively charged. The lower part of the cloud became negatively charged, and the steeples like trees and ground are they have become positively charged, and obviously there is a imbalance is created between the charge of the cloud and charge on the ground, and electrical discharge will take place. That is what we call it as lightning. See, whenever the lightning happens, huge amount of energy is released. Huge amount of electrical energy converted into heat energy. Huge amount of energy is released. It's very very dangerous. That is the reason you are suggested not to stay nearby trees, nearby metal surfaces, nearby mountains during this lightning. It may harm you. The electrical discharge may happen through your body and pass to ground, because a human body is a very good conductor of charges or electricity. Okay, so then why do we hear thunder after seeing this lightning for a while? Because, as I said, huge electrical energy is converted into heat energy when the lightning is produced. Then the air which is surrounded to this the generation of lightning nearby clouds, the air will be heated to a temperature hotter than 5 times hotter than sun's surface temperature. 5 times hotter than sun's surface temperature. And because of this heat, the air will rapidly expand and vibrate, which we hear it as a sound called thunder for a while after seeing the lightning, which is a flash. So the answer is electric charge. So for all these questions, the answer is lying in electric charge. So now you might have guessed what is our topic name. What is it? Electric charge. And based on the position of this charged particle or the electric charge, whether it is at rest, whether it is in motion, we read this electromagnetism, which is a branch of physics, in two sub branches. We divide it into two sub branches based on the charge, whether it is at rest or whether it is in motion. Okay. For example, electromagnetism is a branch of physics which is divided into two sub branches. One is electrostatics and the other one is electrodynamics. In electrostatics, we study about the electric fields produced by charge at rest. Electric charge at rest. When the charge is at rest, what happens? What does it do? That is what we study under electrostatics. And electrodynamics, the charge is in motion, moving charges. The charge in motion means it is electric current. Current is nothing but flow of charge, which produces magnetic field. So we call it as magnetism. And we also read electromagnetic induction in this, and we also read alternating currents in this. When the charge is in motion, magnetism, the magnetic fields created by different current carrying conductors, and electromagnetic induction, how electric field can induce magnetic field and how magnetic field can induce electric field. They are all about steady currents. And alternating currents, time dependent currents also we read under this electrodynamics. So before we move on to electrodynamics, the first thing which we have to read is electrostatics, where charge is at rest. Charge is at rest. So that is why I have named the chapter name as electrostatics, which talks about the charge which is at rest. Okay, because the entire chapter is dealing with charges, it is very, very important to know more about electric charge. So first we will see about electric charge. What is electric charge and what are its properties? How can we charge a body? All these things we will discuss in this lecture. Okay? Electric charge is an intrinsic property of the matter. Electric charge is an intrinsic property of the matter, just like mass. See, every matter is made up of atoms, and atoms are made up of nucleus and electrons. Nucleus contains neutrons and protons. Proton is a charged particle, electron is a charged particle. So every matter is made up of atoms. Okay, and charge is the intrinsic property of that matter. just like mass. We can attribute some mass to some matter, some body. Just like it, the charge is an intrinsic property of matter. And one more thing, every charge is associated with mass. Every charge is associated with mass. It is an intrinsic property of matter, just like mass, and charge is associated with mass. Okay, then what is the difference between charge and mass? Both are intrinsic properties of matter. Then what is the difference? The difference is charge is of two types. Charge is two types. One is negative charge and the other one is positive charge. Negative charge and positive charge. And two like charges will repel each other. It will go this side, this will go this side. They repel each other. And two unlike charges, they attract each other. Okay, then what is the difference between mass and charge? See, charge is positive or negative, but mass cannot be negative. You cannot say that minus 5 kg of this much the mass, for example this, if it is of some 20 grams, minus 20 grams, you cannot say that. Mass can never be negative, but charge can be negative or positive. This is the basic difference. And one more difference based on special theory of relativity. A moving mass, the mass depends on the velocity. Mass depends on the velocity. M equal to m naught by root 1 minus v square by c square, where m naught is rest mass. M is the mass associated with the velocity. So mass is depending on velocity. When it is moving, its mass will change. But when the charge is in motion, the mass of the charge will not change at all. So charge is independent of velocity or speed. Mass is dependent of speed. The two differences between charge and mass. The first difference is charge can be either negative or positive, but mass can only be positive. And the second difference is charge is independent of the speed and mass is dependent of the speed. These are the two major differences between charge and mass. But every charge is associated with the mass. But not every mass is associated with the charge. There are some bodies which are not charged. Okay? And one more important point about charge is, it is a scalar quantity. It is a scalar quantity whose unit is coulomb. It is a scalar quantity units for charge is coulomb. Capital C, we represent it. Okay, and as I said, a charge at rest produces electric field, a charge moving with constant speed. What does this mean? Unaccelerated motion. The charge is not accelerating, it is moving with constant speed. Produce electric field and magnetic field, but do not radiate energy. A charge which is in accelerated motion, moving with not constant speed. The speed is changing every time. In that case, a charge in accelerated motion produce E and B, electric field and magnetic field, and radiate energy in the form of electromagnetic waves. And radiate energy in the form of electromagnetic waves, EM waves. Is very, very important. A charge at rest producing electric field nearby it. A charge which is moving with constant speed, which is called as unaccelerated motion of the charge, can produce both electric field and magnetic field around it, but they do not radiate energy during their motion. But a charge which is in accelerated motion can produce electric field and magnetic field and radiate energy in the form of electromagnetic waves. Okay, so it's a scalar quantity, so its unit is coulomb. It can produce electric field if it is at rest. It can produce electric field and magnetic field when they are in motion. They radiate energy if the motion is accelerated. They do not radiate energy if they are not in accelerated motion. And they are of two types, plus and minus. And the two like charges repel each other, two unlike charges attract each other. There are very, very important points about a charge. Okay, now we will see the properties of charge. Very important. The first property is additivity of charge, additive nature of charge, conservation of charge, second one. Third one is quantization of charge. additivity of charge, conservation of charge, quantization of charge. We will discuss one after the other. What is additivity of charge? Charge has additive nature. Means, for example, consider a system in which so many particles are there and each particle has some charge. Okay, for example, consider a system in which so many particles are there. For example, Q1, Q2, Q3, each particle has this charge, Q4, Q5, Q6, Q7, Q8, etc. up to n, Qn. There are n number of particles in the system and each particle has charge Q1, Q2, Q3, so on, Qn. Okay, the total charge of the system we can write as the total charge of system will be algebraic sum of individual charges in the system, which means if Q is the total charge of the system, Q can be written as Q1 plus Q2 plus Q3 so on Qn. Or simply you can say Q is sigma I equal to 1 to n Qi. It should be plus or minus 1, as I said. It should be plus or minus. The charge can be plus or minus. For example, if some charges are plus and some charges are minus in the system, then the total charge of the system should be algebraic sum of the individual charges in the system. So this is what the additive nature of charge. Okay. Now we will see what is conservation of charge. What is conservation of charge? Then move on to what is quantization of charge. Let me take out this. I will write again what is conservation of charge. The second one is conservation of charge. It's very important, which we observe in nuclear reactions or radioactivity. Right? So what is conservation? What is general? What is the meaning of conservation? It cannot be created, destroyed, and can only be transferred. That is what conservation. Charge is neither created nor destroyed, but can only be transferred. But can only be transferred. This is what conservation of charge. How? How do you understand this concept? Conservation of charge. For example, consider an isolated system. Consider an isolated system. What is isolated system? It is some system which is independent. Okay, particularly the surface of that system is insulated. See, materials are of two types, conductors and insulators beginning, but later on semiconductors have come. But what is conductor and insulators? In conductors we have so many of free electrons which can move easily, and insulators free electrons cannot move easily. That. So for example, isolated system whose surface is insulating, in which I have some three charges. Okay, for example, this is some 2 coulomb plus, this is some 4 coulomb plus, this is some minus 3 coulomb. A system in which 3 charges are there, plus 2 coulomb, plus 4 coulomb, minus 3 coulomb. And these charges cannot escape from this system. That is an isolated system of insulating material. Okay, so now what you do, this system, just do like this, shake it and leave it. Okay, then what would happen? The same isolated system, the observation will be some 3 coulomb, some 5 coulomb, plus and plus. What would be the charge on this third body? What would be the charge on this third body? See, what is the net charge of this system? Net charge of system is how much? Q initial equal to 4 plus 2, 6. 2 plus 4 plus minus 3. How much? 6 minus 3, 3 coulomb. Here. Here also, net charge of the system should be same. See, conservation of charge is neither created nor destroyed, but can only be transferred. The net charge of system remains constant. If net charge of the system remains constant, the net charge of the system here is 3 coulomb. Then after doing a shake, the charges of each body were transferred to another. There is a possibility of transferring. Then what would be this charge? See, 3 plus 5 is 8. I want net positive charge as 3. So this should be minus 5 coulomb. So that 3 plus 5 plus minus 5 would be 3 coulomb. Q initial is 3 coulomb, Q final is 3 coulomb. This is what conservation of charge meaning. Charge neither be created nor be destroyed, but can only be transferred from one body to another body, and the total charge of the system will remain constant. Okay, so this is an example of conservation of charge, which we usually observe in nuclear reactions and radioactivity. For example, some radioactive sample is decaying into some other sample by emitting an alpha particle. So alpha particle is having 2 plus 2 charge. So automatically it will be written as the daughter nuclei will have Z minus 2 protons. So like that. Just like this. For example, some ZXA is emitting alpha particle, so that Z minus 2, some Y, A minus 4 we write now. This is conservation of charge. Here we will have alpha particle 2He4. This Z minus 2 plus 2 will become again Z. Total number of protons remains conserved before and after. The system charge is conserved. This is an example of this. So usually all nuclear reactions should conserve the charge. Okay, and one more important point that we have to know here is, if the system or if the material is of same size, same shape. For example, consider two bodies. Consider two bodies of same size, same material, size and shape. And one body has charge Q, other body is neutral, means no net charge is there on the body, zero charge. Then keep those two bodies in one insulated box, Q and this is 0, and shake it. Then what you would observe is, this will be Q by 2, this will be Q by 2. The equal distribution of charges between those two bodies would happen. This would happen only if they are of same material, same size, same shape. The charge, Q by 2 charge has been transferred to the neutral body. But the total charge of the system remains conserved. Here the total charge of the system is Q. Here total charge of the system is Q by 2 plus Q by 2 again Q. Conservation of charge. Okay, so this is about conservation. Now we will see what is quantization of charge. This is also very, very important. Quantization of charge. See, quantization is nothing but something which is available in fixed quantities. Available in fixed quantities. Very important. Available in fixed quantities. What does that mean? For example, if you go to a shop and if you want to buy this marker, what would you ask? You would ask like, give me one marker, or give me two markers, give me three markers, or give me some number of markers which is an integer. But you can never ask, give me half marker, give me 1 by 3 of the marker, give me 1 by 5 of the marker. Because the marker is not available in those quantities. The marker is available in one quantity, two quantity, three quantities, 3 markers, 4 markers, like that. But not half, not 1 by 3, not 1 by 5. The fraction of marker is not available. So it is available in fixed quantities. This is how the charge is also available in fixed quantities. You cannot charge a body to any quantity. There is a limit, there is a rule. The smallest charge that can exist that can exist. Just like the smallest quantity for this is one marker. The smallest charge that can exist independently, this is very important, independently or freely, is magnitude of electron charge, electron or proton, whatever, both are having same charge in magnitude, which is called as elementary charge or fundamental charge. Fundamental charge or elementary charge. The charge, the smallest charge that can exist independently or freely is the magnitude of electron charge, which is fundamental charge or elementary charge. What is the charge of a fundamental charge? It is 1 electron charge or 1 proton charge. There are some particles which are called as quarks, but they usually found in plus or minus 1 by 3e. Here what is the charge? 1e is the smallest unit of the charge. Just like 1 marker is the smallest availability, 1e is the smallest available quantity of charge. But some particles are there which whose charge is like plus or minus 1 by 3, plus or minus 2 by 3e, but they are not independent. That is why I said this is important. They are not independent. These quarks are always available in combination. They do try to combine and form neutron and proton. They are not available independently or freely. They are available, they are found in combinations. So that is why you have to use this word. The smallest charge that can exist independently is magnitude of electron charge, which is 1e. Okay, then if it is the smallest, then how can we, what are the different quantities of charge that are available, that we can see that a charge is integral multiple of fundamental charge. Integral multiple of fundamental charge. What is fundamental charge? Magnitude of 1 electron or proton. Right? Which means we can write Q is always Ne plus or minus, where N is integer. It can be plus 1, plus 2, plus 3, so on, or minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, so on. So what are the available quantities of charge? You can say either plus 1c or minus 1c, plus 2c or minus 2c, plus 3c or minus 2, sorry, e, plus 3e or minus 3e, plus 4e or minus 4e, so on, plus ne or minus ne. The charges are available in these quantities only, not 1 by 2e, not 1 by 3e, not 2 by 3e, not 4 by 3e, like that. They are not available in fractions. They are available only in terms of plus or minus n into e, where n is the integer, including 0. Q can be 0 also. It's a neutral charge. Okay, this is very, very important. This is what the quantization of charge means. Okay, so based on this, let us try to do 1 or 2 simple problems so that you would understand what is quantization of charge. Let me write those problems. For example, question number 1 under this, how many electrons are present in 1 coulomb charge? How many electrons are present in 1 coulomb charge? We know Q equal to plus or minus Ne. I want N. And what is E actually? E is 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 19 coulomb, charge of electron. Okay, so I want N. In 1 coulomb charge, how many electrons are there? So 1 by 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 19, which you would get as 6.25 into 10 to the power of 18 electrons. In 1 coulomb negative charge, you can say how many electrons are present in 1 coulomb negative charge, because electron is negatively charged particle. How many electrons are there? Let me write it as 1 coulomb negative charge. .25 into 10 to the power of 18 electrons will be there in 1 coulomb of negative charge. This is very important for entrance exam. You can just simply do this fraction and you will get this answer. Okay, the second problem, question number 2 is, can we give a charge of 32 into 10 to the power of minus 19 coulomb to a body? Can we give this much of charge? Let us find the answer. Right? So we know Q is equal to Ne and N is equal to Q by E. Here Q is 32 into 10 to the power of minus 19 coulomb by E is 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 19 coulomb. This will cancel. 32 by 1.6 is how much? It is 20. N equal to 20, which is an integer. Which is an integer, which means you can give this much of charge to your body, because N is an integer. See, if N is not an integer, you cannot give that charge to your body, because Q must be equal to Ne and N must be an integer. E is fixed, 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 19 coulomb, the magnitude of 1 electron charge or proton charge, and Q is the charge that you want to give to your body, and N must come with integer, not a fraction. Because N is an integer, for this case you can give this charge to your body. Okay, so this is how the quantization of charge we can understand. See, just like energy quantization, the quantum of one energy is h nu, quantum of angular momentum is h by 2 pi, the quantum of charge is 1e or E. Okay, Now we will see what are the different methods for charging a body. Different methods for charging a body. The basic methods of charging are, the first one, charging by rubbing. We call it as actually triboelectricity or electric effect. Sometimes it is also called as frictional. Frictional, the charging by friction. And the second one is charging by conduction. And the third one is charging by induction. Charging by induction, the basic methods of charging a body. Okay, so we will see one after the other. Charging by rubbing. This is the first method of discovery of charge, where I have told you an example in the beginning of this lecture. Combing your hair, dry hair with a comb, the charge accumulated on the comb is by rubbing. The best example here we can see is, for example, consider a glass rod on which you rub it with silk cloth. Rub it like this. The rod will end up with a positive charge, and the silk rod will acquire negative charge. Then how did that happen? The charge on glass rod become positive and charge on the silk cloth become negative. That is because of rubbing. You are rubbing it. The friction that is happening. What is basically happening here? See, if you are rubbing two bodies, you are rubbing, you are spending some kinetic energy. There is some kinetic energy which is being spent, the mechanical energy, which is converted into, kinetic energy is converted into thermal energy. And what happens? This thermal energy is absorbed by the electrons in one of those two bodies. For example, if then what would happen? That electron would get the required ionization energy. The energy required for the electron to move from one place to another place, one orbit to another orbit, or completely remove it from the outer orbit, is ionization energy. The ionization energy for that electron has been coming from thermal energy generated because of rubbing. And some electrons would move from one object to another object by leaving a plus here, and this will become minus. So what is happening now? This is negatively charged and this has become positively charged. This is what happens in the case of rod and silk. The rod is becoming positive and the silk is becoming negative. That is what? See, remember, the charge on any body is because of the number of electrons present in it. Initially, in normal state, every atom consists of equal number of protons and equal number of neutrons, and we call it as a neutral state of that atom. But if some of the electrons are transferred from that atom to another one, then the atom which is losing the electrons will become positively charged. The atom which is gaining the electrons will become negatively charged. See, negatively charged means it contains excess of electrons. Positively charged means it contains deficiency of electrons. Okay, it is the electron movement which is the reason for the charge or charge transfer, not proton. Why? Why means proton mass is bigger than the electron mass. What is proton mass? Proton mass is 1.673 into 10 to the power of minus 27 kg, whereas electron mass 9.1 into 10 to the power of minus 31 kg. The proton mass is greater than electron mass. So that is why electron can easily move, not proton. And electrons are in the orbiting in the orbits around the nucleus in an atom. So electrons are the main reasons for the charge, whether it is positive or negative on a body. If the positive charge is accumulated on the body, means the body is losing electrons. If the negatively charged accumulation on the body is gaining the electrons. That is how you have to understand. But in normal state, all the atoms are neutral, equal number of protons and equal number of electrons. Okay. For example, in this case, if you are rubbing two bodies, initially they were neutral, but because of this rubbing, some of the electrons from this body and are transferred to this body, so that this is becoming negatively charged, so gaining electrons, and here they are losing electrons. This is how rubbing help you to charge a body, charging by rubbing. This is the first method of discovery of a charge. Okay. Now we will see charging by conduction. So charging by conduction, what is happening here is the two bodies, one is already charged body and the other one is not charged. They are put in contact with one another. Then the transfer of charge will happen between them by conduction, by direct contact, by touching it, by touching a body with another body which is already charged. So that is charging by conduction. So transfer of charge from one body to another body in contact. Another body which is already charged, one body which is already charged. Transfer will happen from a charged body. Okay, so now you can see this picture. I have taken two bodies. One is a metal sphere which is placed on an insulated stand. Means no charge will transfer to the ground due to this stand. Okay, this is a metal sphere which is in contact with a ebonite rod which is having excess of electrons. Hence it is a negatively charged body. Already charged body is ebonite rod which is having negative charge on it, which is in contact with the metal sphere which is uncharged body initially. Okay, so it is in contact with this body. So because of this contact, what would happen is some of the electrons would be transferred to this metal sphere, and once they are all on the metal sphere, because of the repulsion between those electrons, or like charges repel each other, they would occupy a place on the surface. The charge is distributed over the surface from here to here. If you see here, what is the difference? Once the rod is touched to the metal sphere, the electrons are transferred to this metal sphere and rod is taken out. Then those electrons which were transferred to the metal sphere would distribute over the surface of the metal sphere because of the repulsion between them, and the metal sphere would become negatively charged body, and all those negative charges which are electrons are on the surface. To prevent them to transfer from metal sphere to the earth, an insulated stand is used here. So whatever the charge that is accumulated on the surface of the metal sphere is staying there only. It is not transferring to the ground, to the earth. Why? Because we have kept an insulating stand here, which on that stand the metal sphere is kept. So the charge from ebonite rod is transferred to metal sphere, and because of the like charges repulsion, those electrons are distributed over the surface of the sphere, and those charges are not transferred to the earth because of this insulated stand. So this is how the conduction will help us to charge a body. So in this case we can also charge a metal sphere with positive charge. This exactly reverse the process. For example, if you take a body which is not charged, which has deficiency of electrons, for example, which is positively charged, not charged means which is positive. Consider another rod which is positively charged. Put the sphere in contact with that positively charged rod. Then what would happen? The electrons in the metal sphere would be transferred to the rod. Electrons in the metal sphere would transfer to the rod, so that the metal sphere would end up with positive charge because electrons were transferred from it. So in this way, metal sphere can also be charged with positive charge. But in that case, electrons from the metal sphere would transfer to the positively charged rod. Here what is happening? Electrons are transferring to the sphere, so that it is becoming negatively charged. You can charge a metal sphere either positive or negative, depending on the type of rod, whether it is having excess of electrons or deficiency of electrons. But the reason for any charge is because of motion of electrons or transfer of electrons. Okay, if the body is gaining electrons, it will become negatively charged. If the body is losing electrons, it will become positively charged. So if this happens when they are in contact with each other, that we call it as charging by conduction. Okay, so now we will see the last method of charging, charging by induction. So this is the third method of charging a body, by induction. So remember, in induction method, the bodies are not in contact with each other, but a body is kept near a already charged body, which would result in separation of charges in uncharged body. Okay, so an example let us see. This is separation of charge when a body is near an already charged body. Okay, so how does it happen? See, so this is a metal sphere which was uncharged in the beginning, and near to it a charged body is placed with ebonite rod having excess of electrons, negatively charged rod. Okay, so what happens when this is brought near to a metal sphere which was uncharged? Because of these electrons in the ebonite rod, the electrons which are present in the metal sphere would go away from the rod because of repulsion. For example, the electrons which are on this side of the sphere would move to the other side because of repulsion between these electrons and the electrons present on the sphere. And if the electrons which are moving from this region to this part, the plus charge is left here. The positive charge is left here because of the movement of electrons from this part to that part. So separation of charges happened here because of this body which is near to this uncharged body. So after this separation, see, this is also connected to an insulated stand, so that no charge which is accumulated on the sphere to move to the ground. Okay, now what happens in the second case? Now this is connected to a earth with grounding wire. This is connected to a earth with grounding wire in the second step. What would happen then? The earth can attract, can take any charge. Okay, so for example, if this is connected to earth, all those electrons which are on this part of the sphere were moving to the earth, transferred to the earth by leaving positive charge here again. So that the final result is only positive charge is left on the sphere. See, the first we have taken uncharged metal sphere placed on insulated stand, and we have brought one negatively charged ebonite rod nearby it without contact, so that because of the repulsion between electrons in the ebonite rod and electrons in the metal sphere, the electrons on this part of the sphere were transferred to this part by leaving a positive charge here, and after this separation of charge, this metal sphere is connected to a grounding earth by the help of grounding wire, so that the electrons which reached this part of the sphere were transferred to the ground by leaving positive charge again here. Then disconnect the grounding wire, so that the positive charge is left on the sphere. So initially it was uncharged metal sphere, but now it is positively charged sphere. How did that happen? Because of the ebonite rod kept nearby the sphere without contact. This is charging by induction. So positive charge is made on the, we have charged a positive charge on the metal sphere. So if this is not a metal sphere, if it is some insulated material, then net charge cannot be given to that, but separation of charges may happen. Net charge cannot be given to that, but separation of charge may happen. The separation of charge may happen, but you cannot end up with a net negative charge or net positive charge on that insulated sphere, if you take insulated sphere instead of metal sphere. Okay, so this is how we can charge a body by three methods: charging by rubbing, charging by conduction, charging by induction. The first method was by friction. We call it as triboelectricity or frictional electricity. And the most importantly, we have discussed properties of the electron, conservation of charge, additive nature of charge, quantization of charge. And we have seen what is the minimum unit, the basic unit of a charge, which is plus or minus 1 E. Okay, and we have also seen that charge is of two types, which is the intrinsic property of the matter: positive charge, negative charge. Unlike charges attract each other, like charges repel each other. So these are all basic things about electric charge. So with this knowledge on electric charge, we would move on to discuss about the electric fields produced by electric charge in the next lecture. Okay, hope you have understood. If you have any doubts regarding this lecture, you can put your doubts under the comment section. So I will be ready to help you. Thank you.